Good morning, everyone. How are you? Wonderful. Good to see you. Good to see you. How many have experienced an aha moment in your life? Yeah. What if we had a spiritual practice that would open a pathway for that? Would that be fun? Well, we do. We do. Last week, Reverend Lee opened the door on our series for this year, which is creating a spiritual foundation with the practice of meditation. And today we're going to go on the mystical side. You ready for a mystical journey? Yeah. We're going to talk about visioning, the spiritual practice of visioning. And my talk is, are you available? Are you available? And visioning is not something that we do, it's something we make ourselves available to receive. It's a receiving process. If you're feeling stuck, anybody ever felt stuck? If you're feeling stuck, visioning can be a way to open the doorway to creation for us. It can lead us to the field of infinite possibilities, unlimited potential, because we're opening ourselves to something that is greater than we are. We're opening ourselves to divine ideas and inspiration. We're letting go of our agenda. We're letting go of our plan. We're letting go of our fear. We're letting go of all that stuff that gets in the way. And we're listening for that still small voice of spirit within us that's always there. But we just get so busy sometimes we don't hear. We don't experience it. I don't know if you remember the story, I think we've told it here before, about Anne Lamott. Anne Lamott's a writer, and she tells a story of when she had an idea for a book, and she outlined it all, and then life happened. She got busy. She put it on the shelf for about a year. And she was talking to another author friend who began describing to her a book she'd just written that was on its way to the publisher. That was Anne's story. Exactly. And Anne's point in that was Spirit is always giving. Spirit is always giving these ideas and divine inspiration. And if we don't take it, someone else will. Someone else will. Anybody had an idea you didn't take action on, somebody else did? Yeah, it happened probably to most of us. And it's because we didn't take action and someone else did. They did. Ernest Holmes is the founder of Centers for Spiritual Living. He's the author of The Science of Mind that we teach from. And he says the gift has been given. Everything that is to be already exists in potential, but our spiritual vision has yet to become completely in tune with the infinite. Visioning harmonizes us with God. It brings us in tune with the infinite. It opens those pathways for us. So what is it? What is visioning? Let's start with what it's not. Let's start with what it's not. It's not visualization. Most of us have probably practiced or at least heard about visualization. And this is where we use the power of our imagination and we create a picture of or a feeling of something that we want to experience. And we make it as real as we possibly can. We think about it, we meditate about it, we envision it, we taste and smell and used to be go to the dealership, sit in the car, take a test drive, smell that new car smell, and it will be yours soon. Call it in, right? Remember those days? Yeah, that's visualization. And it activates the law of attraction because we become a vibrational match for that which we are visualizing, and it matches up to us and we're just attracted to us. It's a simple and effective process. However, the main ingredient of that is this picture of what it is you want, the experience that somebody else is having that you want to have. You're recreating something that's in existence, right? Visioning is the new idea. Visioning is something that's never happened before, perhaps. Visioning is opening to the infinite. It's creating those aha moments for us. Visioning is when we don't know, or when we have an itch we can't scratch. I want to do something, but I'm just not sure what it is. I'm not sure how to put it all together. That's what visioning can do for us. It's a deeply mystical practice because we're letting go. We're going into the unknown, something that we don't know and have never experienced before. We're opening ourselves to God in, through, and as us. You may hear it described as catching Spirit's idea or the divine wisdom. It's a practice of stepping into the infinite flow, that divine grace that's always surrounding us. We're opening to that. We're saying yes to that. It's a way of becoming more and expanding our consciousness. I don't know about you, but that's what I'm here to do. Expand consciousness, right? Understand more. The visioning process itself is relatively simple, and the key to success is just let go. Yeah, just let go. We have to surrender our ego. We have to surrender our way. We have to surrender our plan. We let go of all of that. This is a time of being fully present, being still, and just listening. Listening. Are you available to hear the small, still voice of Spirit within? You heard about our education classes a little bit ago. And CSL has a lot of classes, spiritual classes that they offer. One of them is a full 8 weeks on visioning. And I glanced through the curriculum this week, and one of the things that's quoted in there, it says, visioning is the difference between directing Spirit to have our way and allowing Spirit to have its way. I thought that was a good quote for this morning for the distinction. Visualization would be directing Spirit to have our way, whereas visioning is allowing Spirit to have its way through us. When we vision, we're entering the realm of the soul. We're letting go of personality. It's about our willingness to be that vessel through which Spirit can express these new ideas. Spirit is forever giving to and through its creation, but its creation's got to be willing to receive, right? Available to receive. Visioning allows us a space to pause and to tune into that frequency that Ernest talked about, the frequency of the universal flow. It's not a process of getting something. It's not an activity of getting. It's really allowing our consciousness to grow and expand in that moment for that greater awareness, that field of possibilities that's ever available to us. Ernest Holmes said, as our vision gradually increases, new laws and new conditions are revealed to us, which in our former ignorance we neither believed nor understood. Visioning supports not only our personal growth, both physically and spiritually, but it also supports the collective growth of the world. The vision we receive is brand new. If you think about the advances that we have seen just in our lifetimes, medicine, technology, everything that we've seen, all of that is because somebody took that idea and acted on it. Took the idea and acted on it. They may not have had a formal spiritual visualization, visioning process, but they still took that idea as it came through them. For phones you can hold in your hand and are portable. What are the ones now? On the watch. And now they're talking about the thing that was just at this Consumer Electronics show, something about projecting on it with a pen that you wear. I don't know. I didn't even read the whole thing. It was like, oh my gosh, we're getting so advanced in technology. It's crazy. Somebody took those ideas, brand new, and they're transforming the world. The same can happen for us. The same thing can happen for us. Ernest Holmes. When we bring ourselves to a greater vision than the range of our present concepts, we can then induce a greater concept and thereby demonstrate more in our experience. I've used several Ernest Holmes quotes pretty quickly there. He talks a lot about vision, but he didn't create the visioning process. He didn't use, to my knowledge, the visioning process. Reverend Michael Beckwith of the Agape Center created it, 80s or 90s, and popularized it and brought it into Centers for Spiritual Living. But in those quotes, you can definitely tell that Ernest understood the power of Spirit having vision in our lives and us catching these divine ideas and using them. So what's this process of visioning? What is the process? Well, last week, Reverend Lee talked to us about meditation. It begins with that. It begins with a meditative process. It begins with getting still, getting quiet, getting ourselves centered. It's like the first two steps of your affirmative prayer. God is all, and I am one with that. I unify with that. So we just sit in that unity. We immerse ourselves in that infinite love, and we get connected. And then once we're there, we let go of any of our ideas. We let go of our need to control, to plan, to have it our way. And then we become this blank canvas upon which Spirit can paint the vision of our lives or our project or whatever we might be visioning about. Then we ask a series of 4 or 5 questions. Typically, these are, what is Spirit's vision of this? My life, my project, whatever it is. And then it's, what must I release? What must I become? And is there anything else? Well, you can see from the slide, the next slide, there's 12 questions listed here. But if you read some of those, they're sort of replicated. They are sort of ask the same thing. So I can't imagine doing a visioning with 12 questions. These are just samples. 4 or 5 was plenty. And the important thing is what resonates with you. What's going to have you be more open in the process? How is the phrasing? How does that phrasing work for you? The first question, the vision, that's the divine idea. If you think about the creative process that we teach, that's the seed. That's the seed that goes into the soil or the law. The second one is release. And it's releasing or healing whatever it is that's blocked this idea from coming forward to us up until now. If it's not in our lives now, there's something that needs to be healed within us that's blocking that. So what is that? That wasn't my question to Joe. It just seemed like the right time to look at him and go, what is that? So anyway, the release is what has been blocking up until now. Becoming is becoming the vibrational match to the vision. What must I become? How must I grow? How must I expand so that this vision can come through me? And then finally, is there anything else? And that may seem like an odd question, but it's really a powerful question because it's at the end. We've been in this meditative state. We've been connected. We've been listening. Is there anything else? I have an open channel. I have a blank slate. And that anything else can be about the vision. It can be about what I need to release. It can be about what I need to become. It can be about my grocery list. It can be about anything at all. Something else entirely in our lives. Is there anything else I need to know at this time? There's very valuable information received sometimes. Sometimes there's nothing. Ernest Holmes, one more quote. When we get the vision of our true spiritual nature, our problems will drop away. We do not have to make things happen. We provide a way by which they may happen. We're the way that Spirit brings things into form. We are the way that Spirit brings things into form. Everything that we see, Spirit brought into form through us, through some form of creation, through itself. So what happens after visioning? We've done our meditative practice. We've asked all the questions. Well, when we first come out of our meditative state, we do a blessing. We do a blessing of that vision. We're grateful for it. And then we spend some time writing. We spend some time writing down more detail. Typically what I do, because I don't want to stay focused on the vision answer when I'm asking the becoming question, I like to come out of that meditative state and write down some bullet points about the vision, some bullet points about release, some bullet points about become. So then afterwards, I can fill in the blanks a little bit, spend some time reflecting on what came through, gaining some clarity perhaps, maybe understanding about what I received. So I do a little bit of writing. This vision may be very detailed. It may not be. It may not make any sense. It may just be some colors. It might be a word. It might be a business plan. It might be a story. It might be a feeling. That's the mystical piece of it. It could be anything. The key is to just be receptive. Sometimes we get nothing, or we think we get nothing. We get nothing in the conscious realm. But something happens within that subconscious, something happens within us. And it may take a few days or weeks for it to begin to be revealed. But that's the time we watch for the serendipitous things happening out in our lives. Oh, that connection, this connection, that happened, they said, they called. Those things that begin to happen, we pay attention. We pay attention. So then we work with that vision. We've got it written down. We continue to pray and work with it. We use our other spiritual practices. Meditation is one of the things that we use because that helps us be receptive and open to the divine guidance. I got a vision. Well, now what do I do with it? I got a tiger by the tail. What do I do with it? That's when we meditate and we ask for that divine guidance. We use our prayer and spiritual mind treatment. That supports us living the vision and affirming all that is necessary for its manifestation. Maybe we need to meet people. Maybe we need financial flow. Maybe we need a location. Maybe we need employees. Who knows? But we include those things in our prayer as the things that we need to help us manifest that. We affirm that. And then finally is journaling. Reverend Lee's going to talk to you about that next week. But that will help support and clarify and refine that vision because we'll be writing about it and further expanding on what has come through in our visioning process. The main things to remember about visioning are that we stay neutral. We go into it open. We stay neutral with it. We remember that we may or may not get anything. As I said, it could be color, feeling, sound, smell, thought, picture, words, or full-blown business plan. It may not mean anything at the time. It may not mean anything until it does. Till you start to realize 5 years from now, oh my gosh, that's what that vision was about. Look what's in front of me. That went with this and went with that, and there it is. That's happened. You may not understand it. Be patient. Spirit's time, not our time. Patient. Avoid drifting into planning too much, controlling or attempting to make things happen. Be in the flow of the universal energy. The vision has come through you. It has come through with all that it needs. You will be supported when you are open to it and don't try to control everything. Visioning is an important design component in this blueprint that we're creating. We're the architects of our lives. That's what we're talking about this month. And visioning is an important component to that blueprint. As we continue to create our spiritual foundation throughout the year, our spiritual practices are what's going to keep us going through the tough stuff. Anybody had a construction project ever in their life? Yeah. Tough stuff? Yeah. Surprises, unexpected. Things that don't work out quite as we expected. Experience cost overruns, labor shortages, material shortages, just any number of expected things, just like happens in our lives, right? We don't know what this year holds. This is January 14th. Anybody had any surprises yet? As I said, it's January 14th. We've got 11 and a half more of these, right? But it's all good. It's all good. It's all for us, I promise. Our spiritual practices are the strong foundation that we're going to build these temples of our lives upon. I invite you to step in or continue with your spiritual practices. I promise you they will make a difference. If you'd like more information about these practices and this talk today, sign up for our Mindful Monday. You can do so with the QR code in the lobby or send us an email. We'll get you on the email that goes out first thing on Monday morning. It's a recap of the talk. Your spiritual practice this week is practice visioning. Go figure. I do have handouts for you in the lobby. Thank you, Joe, for doing these. These have the questions on them for you. And I don't know if anybody took pictures of that other slide, but you can use those too. So follow along or do like I described, and you can use your recorder on your phone. Record the questions. Make them real for you. Leave about a minute and a half, 2 minutes in between questions to pause and to be able to make your notes, listen, and then go back into the meditation. And using your recorder is a nice way because it keeps you a little more centered, but you can just use the questions. You can just use the questions. And once you have done that, then you work with it all week. Work with it. Write down some stuff about it. Use your journal. You'll learn more about that next week with Lee. But immerse yourself in the vision this week and see what happens. Notice what serendipitous things come into your life that expand that, clarify it, maybe even manifest it. Wouldn't that be fun? So I invite you to play with that this week. Many of you know that Scottsdale Center for Spiritual Living exists because of visioning. When I was in ministerial school, the final class was called First Ministry, and we had to design a business plan for our first ministry. And I was very frustrated because they said, pick any place, you want to build your ministry. And I said, okay, how about, I don't know, Savannah, North Carolina, or South Carolina, wherever. And as I looked at a map, I realized I didn't know anything. I'd never been there. I didn't know anything about it. And I thought, I'm going to put my center in the worst part of town. It's probably some industrial area where nobody wants to go. What am I doing? My real estate brain, right? Closed my laptop and I started meditating. And I said, okay, Spirit, what's your vision of my first ministry? Scottsdale Center for Spiritual Living in neon lights. And I went, whoa. It's like, okay, whatever. Okay, really? What's your vision? And I stuck with it. And it terrified me. It terrified me. It was so real. For 6 months, I said, no, not now, not mine to do, maybe later, good idea, no. Until things started lining up and I couldn't say no anymore. And then somehow, miraculously, I was supported through the whole thing of getting this place going. And now we're celebrating 9 years. That's how vision transforms your lives. That can happen for you. Whatever you want to vision about in your life, now's a good time. It's the start of a new year. It is a clean slate, a blank canvas. So I invite you into the practice. Beautiful, mystical, spiritual practice. I didn't wear this because of that, but I thought it was fun. The veil is thin. So I invite you to step into a deeper relationship with Spirit. Step into the mystical. We'll close with a quote from Dr. Michael Beckwith, who says, "I'm available to what wants to evolve and emerge through me, and I'm willing to practice and embody what that takes for it to do so." And so it is. And now it's your turn. Questions or comments? Victoria.
Well, I'm not exactly sure how to put this together, but what's the difference between visioning and feeling as if? You know, it seems like when you're visioning for a substantive issue. But how does the feeling as if, how does that come into the visioning thing?
Feeling as if is in the third step of treatment when we're affirming our good, where we're in the realization stage. And it can also work in visualization, because I'm feeling as if the car is already mine. I can smell the new car smell, right? Feeling as if in visioning, I think that would be after the vision comes through, that, if it's really resonating with you in that very first vision, that's when the feelings are going to come that, oh my gosh, this is mine to do. When Scottsdale Center came through me, it was like, oh, no, so big, right? If it's what is that thing? If it doesn't terrify you, it's not big enough. Yeah. So that idea of feeling as if and even acting as if is part of the manifestation process once we have the vision. Yeah. Who else? Visioning, visualization. Beverly.
This may take a minute.
All right.
I just had a huge aha experience that I've been with this for more than 40 years, and visioning as a process fits in with our vision statement, right? Our vision is to have a world that works for everyone. And I just finished reading an amazing book called Thrive. And it's put out by National Geographic. And you've all heard of the blue zones for health, that there's 4, 5, 6 places around the world where people are the healthiest. And there's 4, 5, 6 characteristics about their lifestyle that they have in common. Well, this book, Thriving, is the blue zones of the world for happiness. And again, there's 4 or 5 or 6 places in the world that have 4 or 5 or 6 characteristics, very similar, identical characteristics. And yet these places in the world are totally different, totally different. Their values are totally different. And I was thinking, wow, how can we make a world that works for everyone when everyone is so totally different? And one of the places is Singapore. And that's a very young country. It's less than 40 years of age, maybe 42 or something like that. But when it was founded, it's a little island off of Malaysia. And the people, totally different. There's three cultures: Malaysians, which are Muslim, Chinese, and Indians, which are Hindu. And the founders of the country, the first president, this book interviewed him, and he went through this process that was just so totally amazing, visioning that this country has no resources, natural resources, So he had to come up with his supporters with ways to make, gross national product. How can we have money? How can we be a country? How can we have, how are we going to make this work with these three totally different cultures? And it was just fabulous, amazing. And the people had to really change, gut wrenching changes, because their cultures were so different. They had to give up things that were important in some cases. And they could leave. I mean, if they didn't want to do that, they could leave. But these people did that. I mean, gut wrenching changes. And I'm thinking about me and here in the States that, we value our independence, our freedom. And I dig my heels in that, when I look at what is a world that works for everybody, well, if they just thought more like I did, if they just studied this more like I did and learned this more like I did, And in this state in particular, Arizona, I mean, this is an independent state. And could I give up my freedoms? In two of the countries that are the happiest, they had to give up a lot of freedoms, and it just had an aha moment that, well, maybe I'm looking at the vision wrong. That maybe a world that works for everyone are all these blue zones of health, blue zones of happiness, blue zones of love that we all pay attention and learn and expand the blue zones. So it just gave me hope that yes, I might have to give up freedoms. I may have to do this or the future of this country. But if we focus on the good in the bigger picture and apply that in our local areas in our lives, that's a way to do it.
Wow. Thank you, Beverly. Thank you. Wow. One more. Anybody else? All right. I think I have a good way to follow that. How about a prayer? How about a prayer? As we begin this prayer, I quote Ernest Holmes, who said, like Moses, I stand on the mountaintop of spiritual perception. Now, free from all obstruction, the vista is perfect, the vision is grand. The gates of my mind are opened up, and a surge of intuition flows through. And so, from this mountaintop of perception, we recognize that God is all. God is the mountain and the vista. It is the infinite wisdom and intelligence that is in, through, and as all that is. It is divine love. It is inspiration, intuition, ideas, source energy. And all of that is here now, present in, through, and as me, as an expression of it. As I know that for myself, I know that for each one of us gathered here today, in the room, online, and those listening later. For there is no separation. Separation is an illusion. We are united in the oneness and the wholeness of God. We're united in the peace of God. And we're united in that infinite love. And so I speak my word this day, knowing that each of us is divinely inspired, guided, guarded, and protected. As we open our hearts and minds to receive that divine inspiration, the divine wisdom, the direction, the clarity, open, receptive, the sacred yes, to allowing Spirit, to allowing the grace of God to flow to and through us in each and every area of our lives. To say yes to love, to say yes to peace, to say yes to health, to say yes to success, to say yes to it all. It's all available. It all exists in the mind of God. It all exists in the field of potential. Like Anne Lamott's book idea, God is forever giving to us. We simply say yes and take the action. I know for anyone that has anything on their heart this day, as they lift it into their conscious awareness, lifting it into this prayer, that we as community surround them and that idea in our love and our peace, knowing that the divine is right where that is, and that whatever needs to be revealed through that person for the healing of that is revealed now. And so it is with great gratitude, joy, and thanksgiving for this teaching, this center, and each and every one who has ever attended and is attending now and will come in the future, that we are blessed. And so I release this into the action of law, knowing that it is done. And we affirm and accept this together by saying, and so it is.